Welcome to Week in One, the show that helps you catch up with your top news, stories, and interviews featured on eNCA over the past 7 days. I'm Theodore Mashele. Startling revelations in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial this week. A fire in the Cape Winelands torches 7,000 hectares of vegetation. Communities in Durban protest over lack of water supply. And gang-related violence in Westbury spills over to surrounding communities. It's been a week of bombshells at the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. An affidavit read out in court says that singer Kelly Khumalo was the mastermind behind the killing of her then boyfriend. Accused 1 and 2 have named her in their confessions. eNCA's Manqoba Mqunu was in court and compiled this report.
Senzo Meyiwa takes home 30,000 rand.
Another dramatic revelation in court that Kelly Khumalo ordered a hit on her boyfriend, Senzo Meyiwa. The lead investigator says accused 1 and 2 named Khumalo in their confessions in 2020.
He is further linked by means of a formal confession he made to the commissioned independent officer on the 30th of May 2020. In this confession, he clearly implicates Ms. Kelly Khumalo as the person who gave them the instruction to kill Senzo Meyiwa.
Meyiwa was shot dead at Khumalo's Phosphorus home in 2014. Gininda's affidavit also says Khumalo made contact with 2 of the accused in the weeks leading up to the shooting, and that the same photo was on her phone and that of accused 3.
Investigation further revealed that she is linked to the actual perpetrators of this murder by means of cell phone linkages. These linkages connect her to accused 3 and 5. It was further discovered that through cell phone analysis, her cell phone memory album has the same photo of a see-through bag containing cash, notes, and in the exact position or location or spot of that of accused number 3. There is no reasonable explanation as to why Kelly Khumalo will be in contact telephonically with the headman or killers of a boyfriend and share the same picture of a bag full of money.
The court also heard that this was not Khumalo's first attempt to have Meyiwa killed.
Communication records between her and her sister shows that as early as 2013, she wanted to get rid of the deceased, as she puts it. It is apparently clear that she hated him and wanted to get rid of him. She further states that she regrets not succeeding to get rid of him before. Taking into account all these facts, an inference can be drawn that she meant killing him.
The defense questioned why Khumalo has not been charged.
Now, prior to the application of the warrants that was made on the 23rd of October 2020, I've indicated in my evidence in chief that I made presentations, or not presentation, a memorandum to the DPP, where I indicated all the evidence that we have on all implicated people, including Ms. Kelly Khumalo. She is there. A decision was taken at that time that these are the people that must be indicted, and that is accused 1 to 5.
The trial within a trial continues. Manqoba Mqunu, Pretoria.
The Otongati community north of Durban is ready to take eThekwini municipality to court over dry taps. In nearby Verulam, residents also staged protests this week over the lack of water. eNCA's reporter Dasen Tatia reports.
Water issues continue to plague various parts of eThekwini, leaving residents highly frustrated. On Monday morning, the community of Verulam and its surrounding areas staged a protest on the R102, effectively blocking off that route. This lasted for several hours before representatives from the eThekwini municipality came there to address those residents. But still, they didn't seem happy because they hadn't been with water for many weeks. In fact, they have yet to receive answers as to exactly why that is. Another area that has been plagued by these types of water issues is Tongaat. But here, there's something different that's taking place. The Civic Association is saying that it wants to take the municipality to court. I'm now joined by Don Perumal, who speaks for the Tongaat Civic Association. Don, thanks for joining me. If you could just unpack that for me a bit.
We want water on our tap. That is what we want. We want water on our tap. We are tired of this tanker business. We want to see water flowing in our tap to every formal resident as well as our informal residents must have water every day on our tap, and we don't care how it's done, and we want it today. That is our demand to eThekwini. They need to do what is necessary. There is this, council has announced some sort of repair process that's going to take place about renewing the lines and expanding the lines. And I know this was discussed from 2020, 2021. The 2023, I've seen it being discussed again in council. Now they're talking about moving into 2026. We want action today, now. We want those repair processes to start commencing immediately in Tongaat. That way, our entire community gets relief. The action is based basically on the fact that eThekwini claims to be a caring municipality, and that is not what they are showing. Water is life. It is enshrined in our constitution that we have a basic right to water and sanitation. And to tell you the truth, Desan, eThekwini has failed us on all aspects. There's sewer flowing all over the parts of Tongaat, and the sewer is flowing directly into our rivers.
Appreciate your time. That's Don Perumal from the Tongaat Civic Association. We've also reached out to the eThekwini municipality in relation to these water issues. We were told that the head of water and sanitation, Ednick Msweli, wasn't available, and instead we were asked to submit written questions. I'm Desan Tathia in Tongaat, Durban.
Cape Winelands district officials say that firefighters are making good progress in managing the wildfires in the area. A blaze that began on Monday afternoon has touched almost 7,000 hectares of vegetation. eNCA reporter Kevin Brandt has the story.
Firefighting will be continuing in accessible areas throughout the day. Firefighters emphasize that strong winds coupled with extremely hot and dry conditions hamper their efforts.
The fire started yesterday morning near Cloakies Kraal, the little informal settlement. Currently, it stretches over a fire line of 20 kilometers. And we have, on the fire line, we have 4 active burning sites. We have a huge number of resources available here. Cape Winelands alone has 17 machines here.
The district municipality's fire services called in help from other firefighting teams.
We were also able to activate the aerial resource, as you can see now. So there's a little bit more of hope now. But the wind is, of course, of gale force strength, so it's difficult to fight this fire.
Meanwhile, in Cape Town, fire authorities are on standby to deal with any flare-ups in Ocean View following Monday's blaze. Kevin Brandt, Woolsey.
Now, more than 100 point officials have been assigned to alleviate traffic congestions at major intersections across Johannesburg. After completing training, the points officials will embark on a mission to improve traffic flow in the city, particularly at malfunctioning traffic lights during power cuts. This is a story I've been looking at closely during the course of the week. Take a look. JMPD pointsmen have hit the ground running, but officials say it will take some time for the initiative to start bearing fruit.
Well, we're still going through some growing pains. It's a work in progress, but I'll definitely ensure and promise the residents and citizens within the city of Johannesburg that by the end of the week and going into next week, there'll be a full rollout of these points people, and especially at critical intersections in the city.
The pointsmen are currently covering these streets, with more expected at various intersections. Traffic has been a constant irritation for motorists for several years, and power cuts have just compounded this problem. Motorists hope chaos and congestion will soon be a thing of the past.
It doesn't need to be a privatized responsibility or problem. It has to be a government problem. If they're not going to fix the issue, then give us something to fix the issue. But also, it sounds very, fixing the symptom of the problem. It's great to have a team that are designated to come and do traffic, but we shouldn't have a team. Rather put those members, in my opinion, in fixing them and training them as technicians to fix these issues.
While some motorists applaud this initiative, they pay tribute to the unofficial pointsmen.
No, that is great, man. When you see people that are doing like this now,
because always is traffic. So when it's like this, it's easy to go.
Yeah, they're doing something, they're helping.
Yeah. But now do you feel more comfortable
with these guys? Hopefully nobody will go through.
That's it's fantastic that they're actually here, because I think this intersection has been out for a very long time, and this is the first time I'm seeing a policeman of any kind here. They should have maybe given the homeless guys some burbs and some training and let them continue, because they helped a lot. They helped relieve the pressure of the traffic, especially in peak hour times a lot. And they helped. So, I mean, I don't see why we couldn't have allowed them to help out, or made some sort of a system where we can feed them in, to train them and allow them to service us further in the future.
No, I feel safer. Yeah, it's really good. It's a good thing.
Yeah. All right.
It's really a good thing. And I appreciate what they're doing.
Theodore Mashele, Johannesburg. Now stay tuned to Week in One. Coming up, we take a look at some of the big interviews done by our anchors this week. Welcome back to Week in One. I'm Theodore Mashele. Now, authorities have been working around the clock to end the illegal occupations of buildings in the city of Johannesburg, which has proven to be a health hazard. On Sunday morning, a building caught fire, leaving 2 people dead and injuring 4 others. Our shows spoke to an expert on the issue.
Yeah, because we have so many buildings, we understand, that have been taken over or hijacked, and they are not in conditions, because from what I understand, people who occupy them, like at Usindiso we saw, they then build shacks, so to speak, within the buildings, or use material that's easily flammable. And no matter what engineering you've done to a building, if that catches fire, I mean, it's a goner.
Correct. I mean, you firstly have buildings that were designed, let's say, for one family in a room. Now you have 5 families. You have lots of combustible materials. So they've got cardboard and curtains. I mean, often they use curtains as dividers. And normally what also happens is all your building infrastructure systems don't work anymore. So if there was smoke extraction, it's no longer there. A lot of the doors are missing, so then the smoke just goes straight throughout the building. Escape routes are blocked. The fire extinguishers are non-existent. If there are hose reels, they probably don't work anymore. The water reticulation is damaged, broken, missing, whatever. So everything you don't want from a fire safety perspective, you find in one place. So including rabbit warrens of corridors and locked areas. So when an incident happens, and incidents will always happen in any building, but especially when you've got open stoves and too many people and all sorts of other social problems, the fires spread fast, people get trapped, and you will have fatalities. These are incredibly dangerous buildings from a fire safety perspective.
Now, Water and Sanitation Minister Senzo Meyiwa is vowing to restore supply to Otongati, Phoenix and Verulam. It follows months of dry taps in the areas. Gareth Edwards spoke to the minister about this on the South African Morning.
We got a briefing that says that they had to control bulk water supply to eThekwini when they realized that there was more demand than was necessary, and there was no retention on in their storages, and they are going on with the problem. So it would be months in some areas with intermittent supply. But,
was there no way of knowing this was going to be a problem, Minister? Because you've been dealing with floods, tragic floods, and no one can excuse the tragedy of the floods and the damage that has been caused. I'm curious to know how much of your time and budget right now is spent on repairing the damage and preventing this from happening in the future. It seems like you're just chasing your tail at the moment.
Not necessarily, but with regard to eThekwini, our take is that there needs to be a sit-down meeting with between ourselves and their engineering and their water services departments to really confront this problem once and for all. Because every year there's going to be a storm, maybe once, maybe even more than once in a year. The system shouldn't be this weak that just because of rain. You have major disruptions as it has happened. Surely there is something wrong in their system. it is now time that engineers sit down, and we've directed to that effect that both Umgenot and eThekwini need to sit down and assess the system, evaluate its weaknesses and its strengths, and just deal with this such that the system as a whole becomes stable.
Now, there has been progress in plans to end blackouts. That's according to Electricity Minister Usindiso Ramokgopa. But he says while generation capacity is improving, there are still problems. Tumelo Mututwani spoke to Lindsay Shutters on Newslink.
I mean, it's almost bittersweet. Sweet in a sense that the minister says there seems to be progress in ending blackouts, not sure to what extent, but bitter in saying the problems are still ongoing. Let's take, our viewers through what those problems at this stage look like.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, it's bittersweet as always, but Ramokgopa looked very confident at the union buildings yesterday, saying that over the past fortnight, available capacity has consistently surpassed peak demand, but load shedding continues because of two main factors. And one of them is those turbines, those gas turbines that are running on diesel. So obviously, in 2023, we had the worst year. Our spend on diesel to run those peaker plants alone was 21.4 billion rand, up from 10 billion the year before. And our budget is 29 billion for this year. Financial year ends in March, so we only have 4 billion of that left, so we can't be relying on that 3,000 megawatts of capacity right now. So that's the biggest problem that they have.
When it comes to our power stations, what are we looking at here? Especially if we take Medupi, for example, he mentioned that they are focusing on getting Medupi to be fully operational at this stage.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of problems there. There's obviously been massive delays because of the boilers that were misfunctioning, and then we're not getting the proper calories in our coal that we're sending through there, so we're getting that mismatch, and that's causing other problems in the system that has caused breakdowns. So at the moment, we have 4 viable units at Medupi that can be synced, and we're looking at finishing up the last ones. Hopefully, without any problems, we should be syncing those to the grid by the end of the year. So yeah, there's still a long way to go to get out of this hole that we're in.
Now, coming up, we take a look at how gang violence in Westbury is impacting the neighboring community of Coronationville. Stay tuned. Now, welcome back to Week in One. I am Theodore Mashele. Johannesburg, Westbury is notorious for its gang-related violence. It seems to have spilled into neighboring communities. A family in Coronationville has been left homeless after their flat was set alight on Monday. Senior reporter Slindolo Masikani has more.
This is all that's left after an alleged arson attack in Coronationville. The reason? The war between the fast guns and the Farados gangs.
You see my daughter and a child like that.
Jubaida Kroot admits that her daughter is involved with a member of the fast guns. 3 family members are in critical condition following the attack.
So my daughter and the child got badly burned, and me and my other daughter's child jumped out of the window, and his mother was laying behind the 2 beds, so she got out last. So they're in ICU, our lounge, span, TV, a lot of things.
One community activist says colored communities have been abandoned by law enforcement.
So while the gangs are fighting, our people are dying. The police regards this area as not important. It's either it's people getting robbed, it's either there's a whole lot of things that happens, but law enforcement with regards to Coronation of Westbury and all these colored areas, they're not interested.
Police have opened a case of arson and attempted murder.
Police responded to a call about a flat that was on fire in Coronationville. Preliminary investigations suggest that the fire was caused by 3 males who were seen in the area.
While the search for the suspects is underway, Groot and her family will live in constant fear, not knowing whether they'll be attacked again. Slindalo Masikani, Johannesburg.
Now, a 29-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the August building fire in downtown Johannesburg. He was apprehended after testifying at the inquiry probing the cause of the Marshalltown inferno, which claimed the lives of 76 people. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila has the latest.
Shocking revelations that were unearthed at the Kapembe inquiry yesterday, of course, that looks at that fire that engulfed this Usindiso building in the early hours of the 31st of August. Now, of course, one of the witnesses there has actually confessed to being the one that actually torched the building. Very teary 29-year-old, as we do understand, of course, that confession happening in camera, which means that the media was not allowed to take the confession or record those particular proceedings. At this stage, the witness has been kept as anonymous, but we can relay, of course, the revelations that were unearthed there. We do understand from that confession of the 29-year-old witness or suspect, of course, as he now, of course, has been arrested by the police, that he says that he was strangling someone in the basement of this Usindiso building, in fact, admitting to a murder that he did, and then going on to take petrol and setting that person that he murdered essentially alight. And that essentially then went on to cause the havoc and the fire that we saw engulf this particular building, leading to the lives of 77 people that essentially died because of the fire. He has now, of course, been arrested by the South African Police Service. He has been charged with arson, charged with 76 counts of murder, as well as 120 counts of attempted murder. We are finding difficulty in getting word from the South African Police Service, as we have reached out for the most of the morning. But I don't know if it's ironic or what, but they're saying that they can't speak to the media as yet. They can't give interviews to the media. I've also, of course, reached out to the city of Johannesburg on the latest developments, and they suggest that they also can't speak to media. But we have got word from the police that that witness or suspect now, 29-year-old, will be appearing before the Johannesburg Magistrates Court on the 25th of January.
Now, South Africa recorded a slight decrease in road deaths over the past festive period. Transport Minister Usindiso Chikunga says 1,427 people died in road accidents. This is a 1.7% reduction compared to the 1,452 fatalities recorded during the previous festive season. Puleli Shwiti-Jones filed this report.
The road deaths over the festive period may have slightly dropped, but Transport Minister Usindiso Chikunga says much more needs to be done. 5 provinces recorded fewer fatalities, while other provinces recorded increases. Gauteng had more deaths on the road, while the Free State recorded a decline. Chikunga says her department needs to join hands with provinces to intervene.
If we can have it right, as all South Africans will have it right on our own, it's not about the Minister of Transport or MECs, it's about South Africans. We can't be talking about 1,000 deaths in just 42 days. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It cannot. For some countries, this is high for year statistics. It's high. And it can't. We cannot be a country that is just abusing everything, that believes that it is my car and therefore I can do as I wish. There are rules of the road.
Meanwhile, motorists are calling for roads and malfunctioning traffic lights to be repaired.
They should do something about the trucks. But it's not only limited to the roads. I mean, it's a whole network. Transport in itself, the whole network, rail, everything needs to be coordinated. If the trucks are moving onto the roads, it tells you the rails are not functioning properly.
In Joburg, Sandton area, I know with all the flooding and stuff, it's not very good, but there's a couple of potholes.
The traffic lights are affected by load shedding, unless if they use solar panels for traffic lights too.
Chikunga says police visibility needs to improve on roads to deal with lawlessness on the roads. Puleli Shwiti-Jones in Johannesburg.
And that's a wrap of Weekend One from myself and the team. Have a great weekend.